Greetings everyone, this is Jed Schlackman. In this video I'll be speaking about problematic patterns or challenges in our lives and finding or uncovering the root causes of those patterns or issues. As we consider this, it's helpful to keep in mind that nothing is really random, so anything that we perceive in our reality has a cause on some level or some plane of existence. Sometimes the cause may arise on the physical level. So if you accidentally put your finger on a hot stove and you burn it, there's certainly a physical reality layer of causality there. You have placed the physical hand on the physical hot stove, and so there's now a burn on your hand. However, there are also other layers of reality that can affect what's occurring and that may play a role even in that situation. And to illustrate this, we can look at the examples of people who do fire walking, where they're placing their feet on hot coals that under normal circumstances on a physical level would cause a burn. However, since they have shifted their psychological state, their mental, emotional, and spiritual state, they're actually able to shift the physical matter level of reality to where they proceed to walk across those coals and not experience a burn. Also, we sometimes have accidents, at least we may think of them as accidents, that have some deeper meaning or purpose to them, so they are not truly random accidents. They serve some subconscious or unconscious purpose in our life. So if you have these types of experiences, you can consider that there may be multiple levels of causality that are involved. With those little caveats there in mind, we're going to focus on problematic patterns that would be identified in a psychological context. Those who are familiar with the mental health field, with psychology and psychiatry, are perhaps aware that there's a diagnostic and statistical manual of mental disorders. People sometimes call that the psychiatric Bible. So it's sort of an encyclopedia of how different quote-unquote disorders are diagnosed or labeled by clinicians, by professionals in the mental health field. What symptoms are identified to make the diagnosis, what research has been done to try to understand what might cause those particular symptoms, and also some information about approaches to treatment within the conventional psychology or psychiatry context. For those that are into a more holistic or more mind, body, and spiritual way of looking at these types of issues, there happens to be a book that considers itself more of a metaphysical desk reference in a sense, and this is by Dr. Michael Lincoln. Dr. Lincoln was a psychologist, but he was also kind of a spiritual adept, so he was very much into spiritual practices, meditation, different things that went kind of on a deeper level into the person's psyche. So this particular book is called Problematic Patterns, Behavioral, Psychological, and Psychiatric, Their Emotional Meaning. And he calls this the mind's desk reference. So physicians have a PDR, a desk reference, which really is a reference book for using drugs or pharmaceuticals to treat all kinds of health concerns or illnesses. In this case, we're looking at different patterns that people would label as problematic without really medicalizing this. We're just noting that these issues are causing some dysfunction in a person's life, and yet we're trying to understand the roots of these issues, what's actually the, in a sense, positive purpose from a subconscious level of why a person has a particular behavior pattern or particular symptoms that are occurring. Since we're always trying to adapt to our life circumstances, to our environments, the things that we're doing, the way we're responding or reacting to life generally has some survival purpose or some self-protection purpose. So we're trying to do something that's meant to be for our well-being, even though as it's carried forward into the present time in our life, it may be becoming dysfunctional for us. It actually serves some use at some point in time, even if it was something that was useful for our ancestors. So let's consider that possibility, that when we're told we've inherited something genetically, it's actually some type of coping or survival mechanism that the body or mind of our ancestors found useful. It just may seem dysfunctional in our present environment or context, but there may have been some extreme situation that those individuals who we are related to by ancestry, some circumstance where it was actually functional for them. And not only from the ancestral level, but also from our soul level, looking at our other incarnations or other lifetimes, those other personalities that are in a way contributing to the evolution of our soul may have had experiences or situations where the best or only way it was capable of coping with things was to use these particular patterns or behaviors, even though in our current context we're labeling them as problematic. They may have actually been very useful or functional in those other times for those other identities. So I'd like for each of you to keep that in mind, and if you're looking to get to the root or source of patterns in your life, be willing to consider these aspects of our personal development, how we use different coping strategies and survival mechanisms, particularly when we're very young, when we're an infant, a baby, a toddler, or preschooler, or elementary school age child, and even going further as an adolescent. At those stages of life, we haven't fully developed some more advanced parts of our cognition, of our ability to reason and think things through. So we may respond to things in more primal or more impulsive types of ways. And at those points in our personal development, that may be the best that we could have done. So you want to kind of forgive and accept yourself as you've gone through your life journey, understanding that you are trying to do what seemed right or ideal for you at those particular moments in time. You have the opportunity to evolve beyond that now, but there's no point in condemning or criticizing yourself for who you were in the past. This book, Problematic Patterns, provides kind of an alphabetical encyclopedia for you to look at different labeled patterns or problems. So if you have a particular diagnosis or name for the types of issues you're experiencing, you can look it up and you can read about the potential origins of that pattern. This often relates to our early development, to our family of origin, and how we coped with that environment. So you can consider your family situation from your childhood, any particular stresses or traumas that may have been present, any experiences of rejection, of abandonment, of abuse or neglect, of particular roles that you may have had to play in your family in order to adapt or in order to get some type of approval or acceptance. So there are some common themes that tend to come up, and in this book by Michael Lincoln, he's kind of comprehensively or exhaustively assembled all this information that's been developed through working with thousands of clients. So looking at the lives of numerous actual people, what they've experienced, seeing the connections between their personal environments and coping mechanisms and the diagnostic labels that have been applied to them. I hope that this talk has given you some insight or ideas about how you can learn more about the causes or origins of patterns in your life, whether you're labeling them or perceiving them as a problem, a disorder, a disease, whatever way you might have been thinking of them up until this point. It may be helpful to expand your perspective and understanding of these things, to seek to understand them rather than to judge or condemn them, and with that understanding, to bring yourself the opportunity to evolve, to transmute or transcend those particular patterns and adopt a more advanced or more integrated way of coping with life. For those that are interested in personal growth, spirituality, holistic health, and well-being, I invite you to watch some more of my YouTube videos and also to visit my website, which is phinsights.com. That's phinsights.com. You'll find some information about many different healing modalities, as well as information about the group and private healing sessions or events that I facilitate. I appreciate you for watching this video. For now, I'd like to wish each of you a wonderful day. Namaste.